Hello, exciting times. This is the new 992 GT3 RS, and I'm a bit wobbly-kneed because I love it when they launch one of these. Isn't it the most outrageous looking Porsche you've ever seen? They have gone to town on this thing, so let's have a look at the details because they are quite unlike anything I've seen on an RS before. It's so extreme. Start from the front. Normally, a 911, a water-cooled 911, has a radiator pack in front of each wheel. This car, no way. They want to keep this clear for the aerodynamics of the car. As you can see, that massive rear wing needs some balance at the front. So we now have a central radiator here. We'll talk about these vents in a minute, these nostrils. Behind here is a flap system on either side, which allows the car to open up those flaps and rush air through this wheel arch here. So we've got a vent here, which you had on the last car, but down the side on the wheel arch, these dramatic cutaways, which allow 70% more airflow through down the side of the car. The whole ethos of the car is to get as much hot air out down the side of the car and keep the air over the top of the car cool so that it can run cool and undisturbed straight into that rear wing. These fins here are designed to spread the hot air down the side of the car. And I'm reliably informed that there's so much hot air coming out of the rad that if you drive the car with the window down in cold weather, you actually get heated by the air coming down the side of the car. And if you touch the car when you've been running it hard, if you touch the car here, it's warm. That paintwork gets warm when you're driving it, but the roof stays cold. The other thing that's quite dramatic is this cutaway that goes into the door. RSs normally have the same door as any 911, but these have a totally different door. And the thing I love about that is this. That stupid 992 door handle is gone. Look at that. We've got a normal door handle. I don't really know what else to say about the side of the car. It's so dramatic, it's all cut away. It looks like a proper racing car. This here is not actually for engine cooling. Again, this is just to get air down the side of the car. It's all about aerodynamics. The main intake for the engine is back here. The donkey, 525 horsepower, 4 litre flat six, but most importantly, it does have some alterations. So the heads are a bit different. It's got different cams. They come on stronger at 6,000 RPM. So it's not just a calibration job. Look at these things here. What's that? Is that so you can put your skis on that? I don't know. There's so much air management going on. We get back to this thing, the centerpiece. The first GT3 RS wing of this generation, which would be the 996 generation, the wing comes to my navel, to my belly button. This one is above my nipples. Well, nipple, only got one of those. And it is just, well, it's just enormous, isn't it? Fully actuated, it can DRS, it can stall, it can move around. It has properly active aerodynamics. The numbers are outrageous. Was it 860 kilograms of downforce at whatever speed? But it's constantly working. This is a track car. We're at Silverstone today. I would estimate that this car would be between 3 and 4 seconds quicker around here than a normal GT3. That's a massive difference given the power output is not much higher. Also, this is a much lower top speed than a GT3 as well because it's got so much drag. Porsche doesn't care. Normally the RS has to be as quick as the GT3. That philosophy's out the window. Fully magnesium wheels, centre locks as usual. This has got the Weissach pack, so it's got all sorts of fancy carbon fibre on it. The car, what, £170,000 basic, but most of them are going to be well over 200,000. Don't quote me on that price, it's around there. As ever, the difficulty is getting hold of one, I know. I wasn't that sure about it when I saw the first press shots because it looks outrageous and that rear wing almost too big, but now I've seen it balanced, I think it looks mind-bendingly good. Not much more to say about the details. Just soak them up and enjoy them. I'm going to go and have a drive. Now, usually in a GT3, even an RS, if you fiddle with some modes in a Porsche, you just get some slightly different settings. A Sport give you a bit more firmer suspension, and Track might give you some other bits and bobs. This RS, different kettle of fish. We're now in track mode. Look what we get offered here. Okay, track mode means I've now got the following options. I can play with, first of all, the dampers. How cool is that? So we can go compression and rebound, front and rear. So each axle, and we've got all of these parameters here. It's just fantastic geekery, front and rear. Okay. Next thing, the diff. Because it's an electronic diff, you can actually alter what you have in terms of coast, or overrun as we call it, and power. So you can tighten the diff up or loosen it, and you can play with how it behaves on entry as well. We don't need Radio Northampton. Right, next bit, traction control. This is super cool. So you've got modes for ESC and TC in terms of intervention, whether it's high or low, but you've also got different modes here. You can turn the whole lot off, but there's a fail-safe. To turn it off, you've got to then go all the way off here. So you can actually adjust the dampers, compression and rebound, front and rear. You can play with the differential, you can alter the locking factor coming out of a corner, and you can reduce it or increase it going into a corner. That's power and coast in differential terms. You can also adjust the traction control to have more intervention or less intervention, and you can play with aerodynamics. It's so complicated and it's so cool.
We'd like to ask for a moment of your time.
GT3 RS 992. Never seen anything like it myself. This is a massive step. Engine, 15 horsepower more than a GT3. It's a tiny step, but different cams, different head design. So there's quite a bit of change there. But it's all about the D word, all about the downforce. Let's see if we can feel that working. Silverstone is actually a really great place to launch this car. Yeah, I'm trying to get some tyre temperature there. I'm not being a deliberate yobbo. Downforce works through a corner, but don't forget it also works under brakes. So we're piling down the Wellington Straight. Yeah, already the way that I can turn into that left there at Luffield doesn't feel like a street car. Listen to that engine. Never good at a woodcut. Gas on, almost full power in this wet conditions. Call the limiter there, idiot. Flat out down here. Just feels like a bloody racing car to me. Hug the curb on the inside of cops. Yeah, this is, I don't know how you describe downforce when you're driving a car, but this has got it. Wow. Tell you what, anyone that's lucky enough to own one of these that comes to Silverstone to do a track day is going to get held up by normal GT3s. It's a different kettle of fish. It's so stable. Particularly noticing it under brakes. Stowe doing 130 k's through there, and it's damp. Wow. What have they done here? Now we're beginning to feel this downforce. It's such an aggressive concept, putting so much wing on the car. Apparently it'll pull 2.5 lateral G. I mean, that's sort of radical numbers. It's not for a 911. I can't believe how good it is around here. Yeah, I mean, doesn't feel far short of a GT3 car through there to me. I'm lucky enough to have raced a few around here. Yeah, okay. This isn't like any street car other than a Senna that I've driven. Proper aerodynamics in a street car. We've talked about the concept for a long time, but this really is the first time I felt it demonstrated in anything other than a hypercar, really. It's outrageous. I don't know what the difference in lap time between this and a normal GT3 would be around here, but this must be miles quicker. That is dead impressive. Dead impressive. I mean, it's, you know, GT3 to RS is normally second on a track. This is totally different. It unlocks a different level of performance on a track because you can attack the braking areas in a way. Aerodynamics and downforce, everyone thinks about how it loads up in the corner and they talk about numbers 2.5 G and that, but really the braking performance of the car is just, whoa. Wow.